Hi, today we're going to talk about the past simple or simple past. We use the past simple to talk about actions in the past, simply. And we use it to talk about finished actions. And the form of the past simple is the same for all the persons. For example, I went, she went, we went. All the persons with the same kind of verb. There are two kinds of verbs in English, regular and irregular verbs. Regular verbs add ed to the infinitive to turn them into past. For example, stay, present, stayed, past. And irregular verbs change. For example, went, the past of go. Let's see the structure. For affirmative, I stayed with my friends. We went to Brazil on holidays. We use the person and the verb in past. What happens with the negative? I didn't stay in a hotel. We didn't go to Sao Paulo. Do we have the verb in past here? Stay, go. No, we don't, because we express the past with the did. So in negative, we use person, did not or didn't, and the verb in infinitive. What happens with the questions? The same as we use did, auxiliary, we don't use the verb in past. Did you stay for the weekend? Did you go to Rio? Let's go back. We use person and verb in past to talk in affirmative. We use person, did not, and verb in infinitive. Infinitive is without change, just the verb. To talk in negative. And we use did, person, and verb in infinitive to make a question. There are some spelling rules for regular verbs. As I told you before, we add ed to make the past. So work, worked. Stay, stayed. We add ed. But if the verb ends with e, we don't add another e. We just add the d, like, liked. If the verb finished with consonant y, we change the y for I. Study, studied. But be very attentive here, consonant y. If it is a vowel, like play, it doesn't happen. We just add ed. Consonant y, we change the y for an I. And if the verb finishes in consonant, vowel, consonant, we double the last consonant. Stop, stopped. They may seem confusing, but these rules are the same for a lot of situations in English. Yeah? So pay attention to them. Let's watch some examples in films and series. We're going to watch this thing without subtitles and then with subtitles. There are also some subtitles in other language I don't know, but pay attention to the English subtitles.
I lived with him. I lived with him. I lived with him.
No.
Sorry?
I said no. Very, very close, but no. No.
Sorry?
I said no. Very, very close, but no. No.
Sorry?
I said no. Very, very close, but no.
You took my child. You took my child. You took my child.
She said this to my address. She said this to my address. She said this to my address.
You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything wrong.
I'm sorry. I
I didn't know. I'm sorry. I didn't know. I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Did you see that? Did you see that? Did you see that?
What'd you say? What'd you say? What'd you say?
What part of that didn't you understand? What part of that didn't you understand? What part of that didn't you understand?
Why'd you do it? Why'd you do it? Why'd you do it?
Why did you do that?
I love you, Don.
Why did you do that?
I love you, Don.
Why did you do that?
I love you, Don.
Okay, we watched different examples of past simple. If you pay attention to the actors and actresses, the pronunciation of ED is not ed, like most Spanish speakers read. There are 3 ways of pronouncing ID, and here I have a tip. They are very, very confusing at the beginning, so just try to identify the very different one, that is the first one. If the last sound of a verb is t or d, ed is pronounced id. Let's listen to some examples. Wanted, needed, started. Again, wanted, needed, started. Okay, but if your vocal cords don't vibrate in the last sound, what is the vibration of a vocal cord? Look at this. My vocal cords are working by t, d, sh. The sound is only in my mouth, not in my throat. Yes? That's why I tell you it's very difficult to identify this. But if you can do it, great. With this consonants, that are like short, yes, you cannot go on with a p. Only once. Yeah, look, p. It finished. But if I say I can continue. Yes. So p, no vibration. Vibration. Or another sound. Yes, there is vibration, so I can continue. Well, when the vocal folds don't vibrate, the sound is t. For example, helped, looked, washed. Listen, I didn't say helped, looked, washed. No, helped, looked, washed, a T. But if my vocal cords vibrate, I say th, played, cleaned, cold. Yes? What happens? It's very difficult to identify. Is it vibrating? Is it not vibrating? We are trying to think in English. So my piece of advice is, first, identify this difference. Wanted, needed, started. Here, if you say a T or a D, well, it's not 100% correct, but it's much better to say, let me make a mistake, plate. Sounds weird, but it's more similar than saying played. If you say to an English-speaking person, played, they will be confused. Sorry. But if you say plate, well, maybe they confuse a little, but they will get what you are trying to say. It's more similar. So if you can do a T or a D, well, never mind. But never say ed, okay? We're going to go on working with this pronunciation, but this is the basis, okay? Well, see you next.